We all have some kind of concept of what politics is, and that usually boils down to are you red team or blue team? And depending on what team you're on, you have a lot of good presuppositions and ideas about what your team supports, and really bad ones about what the other team supports. Now, I'm not arguing for subjective politics. I, like anyone else, have my own set of political beliefs, and I think that people who don't hold those beliefs are ultimately in the wrong. But it's important to recognize that the ideas that we have about politics, we look at them the same way that everyone looks at them. And it's my ideas are right, yours are wrong. And from there, we tend to extrapolate some kind of idea that I think these things because I'm a good person, and good people think what I think, and bad people think what you think. And this has caused a lot of polarization and conflict throughout all of history, but the modern days felt especially divisive. And we'll be diving into why things aren't so much different now than they used to be. But for those of us growing up in the early 2000s, things are definitely a lot more divisive now than they were as children. And it's not just because we didn't understand what was going on. The red versus blue team dichotomy has turned into like almost a cold civil war type of rhetoric. And I'm not saying that, well, I mean, obviously that's a bad thing, but I'm not saying that itself is what makes that bad. Because again, there is an ultimate good side and an ultimate bad side. But when we're evaluating our political beliefs, it's important to understand that everyone thinks that they're right. And this kind of truth versus false dichotomy, where everyone thinks that they believe in the truth, is really important for the types of videos that I'll be making. And the reason I'm starting here is because this is the most downstream, lowest on the tree of all of these topics that I can go. Because in order to evaluate our political beliefs, and for me to make a case for ultimately my worldview, we have to start at the bottom of the tree and move up. So, the most in your face, surface level way that a worldview expresses itself is kind of in our day to day lives and our political views. And it's really easy to just make decisions about what you think based on what feels good or what sounds good. But how do we know what feels or sounds good? Like, if you base things on how you feel, then you can't really say that anyone else is really wrong. So that puts us in the realm of facts. You have to look at the facts of what the political reality is, or else everything's just based on subjective feelings. And then, I mean, you might as well be arguing over favorite colors or favorite foods, favorite music. Those are subjective, opinionated things. And politics is ultimately opinionated, but it has to be based in fact. So in order to evaluate political facts, we also can't just look at here's what's going on now, because what's going on now was made by things that happened in the past. So as for the topic of the video, what politics is, we all kind of have an intuitive idea of what it is. And it goes further than just what our government is doing and what our thoughts are about that. It goes further than even the economy as it is today, because what is now, the set of things that are happening now, the political reality that we live in, is the culmination of decisions that are made that are out of our individual control. So this has been true for all of time. It doesn't matter what kind of government that you have. Western democracies, as they exist, elect representatives, but those representatives don't always make the decisions that the people that voted for them thought they would make. And there's a case that could be made by people that believe in a more federalized Republican type of democracy in the ancient republic sense, where we're electing people to make decisions for us, which is really what a representative democracy is. There's not really a direct democracy anywhere. In the digital age, we could have a system where we get decisions sent to our phones and we all vote on what we want the tax rate to be in Minnesota. You could have a digitalized direct democracy, but we don't have that. So we vote for people who make decisions for us on our behalf. They represent us. And yet those decisions are ultimately out of our control. They're the ones making those decisions. So politics is a set of decisions that affect our lives that we didn't choose because we're being governed. So that's roughly what politics is. Why it's important, I think it's pretty self explanatory why it's important, though I've met a lot of people who are apathetic. They think that politics is not important. Why care about something that you can't control? But there's a saying that goes something like, politics cares about you, even if you don't care about politics. So it will affect you no matter what. Whatever influence you can have over it, you should utilize. And if you're going to try to exert political influence to however small of a degree that you can, you should be informed about the decisions that you want. You should be informed about the policies that you're supporting, the side that you're supporting. The world that you want is so much deeper than what makes you feel good. So we're at the bottom of the tree here, where I'm saying this is the most basic thing that you need to understand. And this is an argument for why you should be paying attention to politics and why you should be doing research into the things that you want. You need to be asking yourself if you want the right things, why what you want is right versus what other people want. And people like to simplify this on every side of the spectrum. They simplify what's right. And even though they won't say that this is the case, really it's just what online influencers you're listening to are telling you is the case. So I think that's a pretty good explanation for what politics is and why it is important. But every subject is interconnected with basically every other subject, especially in the realm of society and the humanities. So politics can not really be something that you really grasp and can ground yourself in a correct set of beliefs in unless you do research into other topics too. And research doesn't have to be like what I've done, where I've spent most of my free time looking into things. It's not really hard to see if the things that you're interested in are based in fact or not. So in future videos, I'll be covering other subjects. And in the next video, I'll be going just one more rung up the tree where I think the next subject feeds directly into this subject. And then we'll be going deeper and deeper. And then a few videos from now, I think I'll have made a pretty compelling case for why these subjects that I'm covering are important for you to be doing research on.